Hey everyone, welcome to inCARnation. Do you do the occasional track day or would like to do a track day? Well, before you grab your helmet and keys to your pride and joy, take a few minutes and watch this. We have 10 tips that we hope will make you a better, faster, smoother and safer driver on the track or on the road. When he's not sculling milkshakes with me, Mark actually has a teenager's dream job as a race driving coach and mentor, getting paid to help good race drivers become even faster, all around the world. Well, until COVID came anyway. So I thought I'd pop into Sydney Motorsport Park today and see what he's up to. Look what I found, no surprise. Mark's in a Ferrari race car, mentoring a good friend and client to help him get the most out of the car. The Cavallino Motorsport guys are here too, so Mark's doing a bit of car tuning with tyres, brakes, suspension and aero adjustments, but mainly he's focusing on working with the car's owner.
And then we'll come in, only do 4 or 5 laps, we'll stick those new tyres on and then see how we go.
I know you're interested in the car though, so let's get over that first. This is a 10-year-old Ferrari 458 Challenge race car. The factory made about 150 of them, there's probably about 100 left worldwide, all left-hand drive. Not a lot done to the motor, apart from the very noisy exhaust. 600 horsepower, normally aspirated V8, paddle shift 7-speed gearbox, wings, slicks, lots of carbon fibre panels, polycarbonate windows and windscreen. But despite adding air jacks and the big roll cage, it's still super light at just 1,256 kilos, which is about 300 kilos lighter than the base 458 Italia. So it's quick. Let's learn from the maestro. Now pay attention folks, there's a lot we can all learn from carefully watching a good driver at work. Whether you're in a Ferrari race car or your granny's Corolla, a lot of these principles are just as relevant. Part of the process today is to do some installation laps, where Mark just drives the car to see where it's at. These are not flat out, but they're fast enough to flush out any problems. So let's ride along for a couple of laps. There's a lot to be learned here and the devil's in the details, so I really want you to pay attention closely here.
Do you mind if I don't come along with you? Because last time I left in a different car from the one I arrived in.
That's right, that had red and blue flashing lights, isn't it?
Yeah, that one.
Okay, first tip, driving posture. Look where Mark's sitting, nice and close to the wheel, really close, like your grandmother does. Belts tight, really tight, because you should not be able to move in the seat and you need to be able to turn the wheel quickly without putting a load on your arms and shoulders. So you need to be close. And your legs, even at full stretch on the brake pedal, you still need a little bend in your knee. Take your time with this, it's important to get it right. Number 2, and this is super important, vision. If you ask people what part of their body controls the car, they'll usually say their hands and their feet. No, not really. It's vision placement that controls the car. The hands and feet are just the tools that follow your eyes. Where you look, that's where the car goes. Same applies when something bad happens in front of you. It's called target fixation. Watch carefully Mark's eyes. In the entire 3 laps, the only time he blinks is on the straight, and once at turn 9. In the entire 5-minute clip, he blinks 7 times. That is just weird. That tells you how much he's concentrating. Notice how he turns his head in the tight corners, and notice how his eye line never drops. He's always looking up, level with the horizon, so he can see as far up the road as possible. You don't need to be looking at the corner apex in front of you, that's ancient history. You need to train yourself to look up. Number 3, smoothness. Notice how even though he's doing 250 clicks, nothing looks rushed. He's like a Zen monk, totally in the zone. Look at the way he feeds in the steering lock as he turns into corners. It's smooth. Even though he's braking and cornering right at the limit of grip, he's doing as little as possible to shock or unbalance the car. Keeping your vision up means you can see things early, and that gives you more time to react, and that means you can react more smoothly. So it comes back to vision, doesn't it? Number 4. On this track, in this car, the hands never move off the wheel, not once. 9 o'clock, 3 o'clock, even though the paddle handles are on the column, not on the wheel. So his hands always tell him where the front wheels are pointing. From the moment he leaves the pits to when he comes back, they have not moved. Notice the light touch on the paddles, the light grip on the wheel, and the relaxed arms and shoulders. Tip number 5, feet. We don't have a camera down there today, but the brake and throttle are not light switches. You don't just turn them on and off. There's a difference between a squeeze and a stab. You squeeze the brake, you squeeze the throttle. Now there's no clutch pedal in this car, so Mark's able to left foot brake, which enables a faster transition from braking to accelerating, and a better ability to control the weight transfer of the car. If you look at any top-line race driver, they can use either foot on the brake with the same sensitivity. Left foot braking is something I need to practice a bit more. Okay, tip number 6, know the right racing line. Sometimes it's quite counterintuitive, so you need to get someone who actually knows the track to give you the pointers. What should feel right sometimes is not right. As a general rule, and I have seen this thousands of times, there's a tendency for newcomers and even quite experienced drivers to turn into corners too early, try to get back on the gas way too early before the car is turned and pointed in the right direction. Keep in mind the goal is to drive the track using the absolute minimum amount of steering lock all the way around. That means using the full width of the track. It sounds obvious. They gave you a nice wide track, so use it. A lot of people don't. Tip number 7, brakes first, then gears. Approaching a corner, brakes first and hard, then change down while you're still braking hard. On a manual car, this requires all 3 pedals at once. On a racetrack, the brakes are designed to slow the car, not the gearbox. On the road, sure, it's a different story. When I'm instructing, if I say brake and I see a hand drop down onto the gear stick before I feel strong braking, I am not a happy camper. Always brakes first, then gears. Tip number 8, apexes. This is related to the racing line. Making your apex doesn't mean being 2 meters away from it. It means being right on it. But first you have to know exactly where they are, and you might need somebody to show you. Today they have kindly put out blue and white cones for the rookies. If you find that as you get faster you're starting to miss your apexes, you need to change something. You probably need to slow down a bit, which leads to tip number 9, patience. You might think that in a racing car you're either full on the gas or full on the brake, nothing else. Anything else is wasted time. Wrong. There are many times when you are actually balancing the car, typically when you are trying to get it turned to point in the optimal direction. Sometimes you're just feathering the throttle or easing off the brake to get the car settled or turned, which leads to the last point, exit speed. It's all about getting out of a corner as fast as possible, not hammering into it as deep as you can like a sales rep in a go-kart at the team building convention. Let's say you save 3/10 by demon braking deep into a corner, but you end up with a little bit of understeer and it costs you 2/10 on the way out. Well, it costs you a lot more than that because that reduced exit speed will add up to a lot on the way to the next corner, especially if it's a long straight. Slow in, fast out. Brake early, brake hard, give away a bit on the way in, and usually it'll pay a dividend on the way out. So that's 10 things to think about. Now let's enjoy a clean lap with Mark without me blathering on about it. A couple of points before we go. Whenever you're on a racetrack, always wear the best safety gear you can afford, particularly here. Sydney Motorsport Grand Prix track is a high-speed circuit and it's quite dangerous. I've seen many cars wrecked here over the years. Shortly we're going to make a YouTube video where we'll show you exactly how to get the best out of this racetrack and how to use your vision, hands and feet in a manual gearbox road car. So look forward to that. I really hope you feel you got something out of this one, so thank you for watching. Next week I'm navigating in a tarmac rally in a pretty fast turbocharged car, so that should be pretty exciting. I'll take the cameras along. See you next time. Thank you for watching. If you like what you see, please share it with your motoring friends. I look forward to seeing you soon.